year is 2025, the date that Black Ops 2 is set in. I can remember when this game released back in 2012, it felt like it was set so far ahead into the future, yet here we are 13 years later in Black Ops 2's setting. I saw a video pop up on my YouTube recommended the other day titled something along the lines of "Did Black Ops 2 predict 2025 correctly?" And I thought that'd be a cool idea for the zombies mode. But then I remembered the majority of Black Ops 2 zombies maps take place in 2035. Transit, Die Rise, Mob of the Dead, Buried and Origins don't take place in the same year that Black Ops 2's campaign or the multiplayer is set in. I know a lot of people seem to think Transit takes place in 2025, but it doesn't. However, there are two maps that we can look at, two maps that take place simultaneously this year, and that is Moon and Nuketown. Because we have time travel in zombies, all of the maps take place in different years, some in the future, some in the not so distant past. Call of the Dead 2011 probably being one of our more relatable maps in terms of year, and then we go even further back in time with maps like Mob of the Dead being set in the 30s or Kino der Toten taking place in the 60s. So there are only two maps that we can look at today, Moon and Nuketown, to see if they were an accurate representation of today, minus a zombie outbreak. Hopefully that one doesn't come true. I mean, there's still plenty of time to go this year. We are only in February, so who knows what's going to happen. But Moon and Nuketown Zombies, both of these maps take place at the exact same time on October the 13th, 2025. As you're doing Moon's Easter egg down on Earth in Nuketown, as you play that map, you will hear through radios quotes that Richtofen is saying on the moon. And also when you die in Nuketown, you witness the events of Moon's ending cutscene where the rockets are sent down from the moon to Earth and destroy it. One of those rockets hits Nuketown at the exact moment that you end the game. So the first thing we can safely say, besides from there being no zombies, is that there has also not been a rocket that's hit Earth from the moon. And I don't think there's time for that because, unlike on the zombies map, a moon base doesn't exist. I am wondering, back in the 60s when the space race was going on, if any of them ever thought that they would have a base on the moon by the, 2000s, or especially the year 2025. It's crazy to think we haven't gone back to the moon since then. The early 70s, I think the last one was, but that was over 50 years ago. We haven't put another person back on the moon, let alone build a station. In COD Zombies, Griffin Station was built in the 40s. You look at how big and advanced it was, the excavators, the jump pads, and teleportation, which is to be expected when it was built by Group 935, but we have none of that. We don't have teleportation. These teleporters were created by Treyarch based on the real-life conspiracy theory of Die Glock and the Nazis attempting to teleport for themselves. Of course, that was only ever a conspiracy theory. The jump pads are not real-life technology that we have. The excavators are commonly used for mining. How Group 935 would have got them up here, I don't know, and what they would have been used for exactly were never told. I would guess to excavate the moon's rock to build the station. And the MPD, a pyramid on the moon, does not exist. Moon's wonder weapon, the wave gun, as the name implies, has the ability to microwave zombies, but it can also be taken apart and turned into a dual wield, then called the zap gun, which will fire red balls of electricity. Do we have similar weapons like this today? Could you weaponize a microwave? I guess technically, yes, we have microwave weapons, but they're used to damage electronic systems. I suppose what the wave gun is essentially doing is heating zombies up. If there's not already a weapon that can do this, I feel like there will be in the future. So for some reason, the wave gun doesn't sound or seem too far-fetched for me. You can also get a piece of equipment on this map called the Hacker. It does, as its name implies, allows you to hack things such as the Pack-a-Punch machine so that you can raise the gates around it. You can hack any door for 200 points. If you hack windows, they get automatically repaired. You can hack perk machines, even power-ups. If you hack a max ammo, it will turn into a fire sale, for example. I wish one of these existed. I could just go around my house and hack everything. It would make my life a hell of a lot easier. And the other piece of equipment you can get is the QED, otherwise known as the Quantum Entanglement Device, which you throw and it will give you loads of different outcomes, such as spawning ray guns that will shoot zombies around you, grenades, it will spawn power-ups, the death machine, it can pack-a-punch the weapon in your hands, do loads of different things. As you would guess, nothing like this exists, which you would expect. As is with this video, it's just supposed to be a bit of fun. And also a part of this map, we have Area 51. As far as I can tell, I've never been, but just looking at pictures, this looks pretty realistic and accurate-ish representation of what that area looks like or could look like. It's not too far off, but everything regarding the moon itself, a base and its technology, Treyarch didn't predict correctly. Now, the other map that takes place at the exact same time, Nuketown, is a little bit difficult to compare because the whole idea of it is that it's a nuclear testing site, so the infrastructure isn't supposed to be accurate to the time that it's set in, but there are a couple of fun things that we can look at. It takes place just after the events of a nuclear explosion. You can see that mushroom cloud and the crater that it's created. This was a testing site in Area 51, so it's kind of to be expected, but the nuke went off as a result of Broken Arrow drilling here. The Wonder Weapon is the ray gun Mark II, or at least I'm going to say anyway, that's the Wonder Weapon on this map. Some people consider it to be one, other people don't. I know it's not specific to Nuketown, but the ray gun, similar to the wave gun actually, is another directed energy weapon. This time though, instead of microwaves, it fires plasma beams. I did read the other day, I don't know how old it was, that Russia claimed to be developing various plasma weapons. So is the ray gun a weapon that exists these days? Not in this form. On Nuketown we also have the bow knife, which is fine, and the Galvanuckles, which are essentially tasered knuckle dusters, which do exist. The Galvanuckles are a real weapon. And the only other unique feature I can think of on Nuketown that's worth talking about are the perk machines, and specifically how they fall from the sky from the mushroom cloud. Now, how that even happens in the first place, we don't know. That's never been explained to us in the storyline. We know the perk machines are given to us by Dr. Monty. He moves them from map to map, so for some reason did he decide to just throw them out of the sky into Nuketown for visual effect. There are other theories that they are falling from the moon, or when the nuke hit, it sent all of the perks into the air and they are falling out of the mushroom cloud. Whatever theory you want to believe, the perk machines themselves are based off various medicinal beverages, for example Juggernog being eggnog, and the style of its perk machine being based off the Coca-Cola vending machines. The powers they give you are just made up for zombies, but a lot of the perk machines are based off old school retro vending machines, even to the point where if you go prone in front of one, you can get yourself 100 points, referring to how under some vending machines you are likely to find some loose change. So that's Nuketown. But we also have, which I didn't mention, Alpha Omega, which is essentially a remake or a remaster of Nuketown Zombies, but a much bigger expanded version. It takes place on the same day, October the 13th, 2025. A couple of the major differences between Alpha Omega and Nuketown is that it contains the APD, otherwise known as the American Pyramid Device, which was used by the CIA as a method of interrogation, a part of Project MKUltra, which was a real-life CIA project. Using the APD and having the subject injected with Element 115, interrogators could control the subject's functions, read and rewrite their memories in order to manipulate their emotions. Similarly, in real life, Project MKUltra was undertaken by the CIA to develop procedures and identify drugs that could be used during interrogations to weaken individuals and force confessions through brainwashing and psychological torture. One thing on Alpha Omega that I think is very relatable, or at least feels very scary that it could become a reality, are the ADAM units, these robot mannequins, who at first were created by Broken Arrow, which is a subdivision of the CIA, in order to assist humanity, and later on redeveloped to serve in the army as soldiers, but eventually began to develop their own emotions, and eventually turning on Broken Arrow's employees, forcing the place to become abandoned, leaving the robots here to live by themselves, where when no one was watching, they would just walk about, do their own thing, tidy up, even mow the lawn. But when you're hearing all of these AI stories nowadays, and you see videos of these super smart robots, it makes you think, what if they turn on us one day? So I would say there are a couple of things on Alpha Omega and Nuketown, which in a few years maybe could end up somewhat becoming a reality. So did any of the Call of Duty Zombies maps that take place in our current year in 2025 predict the future? I don't think they were supposed to, but did Treyarch get anything relatively similar to what it's like nowadays? There are a few things which you could say, give it a little bit more time, and perhaps. Before I finish up, let me just touch on Call of the Dead, because back in Black Ops 1, this would have been a present day map. Call of the Dead released on the day that it actually released in 2011 as DLC. The only thing that we've really got to go off, because the whole base where Call of the Dead is set was abandoned during the World War II era, so the majority of it has just stayed still in time. However, our cast of characters are celebrities: Sarah Michelle Gellar, Robert Englund, Danny Trejo, Michael Rooker. We also have George Romero, who has since sadly passed away, but he was the godfather of zombies. Without him, Call of Duty Zombies probably wouldn't even exist. So even though besides from this map he had nothing to do with COD Zombies directly, zombies overall, whether it be in movies, books or video games, might have never been a thing without him. And the wonder weapons are the Scavenger and the VR11. Of course, the VR11 is totally insane. The Scavenger is essentially just a sniper rifle with an explosive bolt, so that's kind of realistic, but the VR11, no. So there we go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, hopefully you've enjoyed the video. If you have, drop a like rating. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, goodbye.